Mr. Jagmeet Singh saying we should have a cap on food prices in this country. If we didn't have enough red tape as it is, we need more of it because we care about the people. And that came out this week.
I know. And it's so funny because like your initial reaction a lot of times is like, yeah, the price of food is too damn high. We need to bring that down. We need to stop it before it goes out of control. And just like we've seen rent control work so well in so many places, let's not. Right. But what was interesting is, so he's calling for this price cap on food. And he said that this is part of his plan as the party that is going to save Canada. I'm like, dude,
nice.
What are you doing?
NDP is going to save Canada. Let's go. Yeah, that's a great joke.
Yeah, and so his proposal is basically, he says, this is all corporate greed from large grocery chains. It's definitely nothing to do with the fact that we've destroyed our economy and the dollar that we have is worth so much less than it actually is. But anyway, I digress.
Oh yeah.
But he says that penalties for price fixing and giving more power to the Competition Bureau to tackle anti-competitive practices is the way we need to go. And so this is the problem, is there is a nugget of truth to that, because we look at the bread pricing situation that we had, where they were actually charged $50 million for knowingly fixing the price on bread. And they said the same thing is happening with meat. We know that they're colluding and that they're actually creating a lack of competition in the market so they can fix the price of that. And you know who's not seeing the benefit of that? The farmers, the producers, the suppliers.
Of course.
And so I look at that and I go, yeah, there's some truth to that. I agree. But then when he starts going into the profit margins and he starts going into the fact that like we need to actually find out the value of every single item and then cap it at that, I'm like, dude, you're the one supporting a carbon tax that is basically creating this inflation on food because now the suppliers have to raise their prices because they have to pay for the increases in gas that they need. And farmers right now are already stretched to the maximum on profitability for these products. Like half of them are saying like it's not even worth it. They're in the negative now to produce, which is not what we want. Yeah. That doesn't actually bring down prices because then you lose people. You have less competition overall. You have less people putting goods and services into the market. So then those few items that we have now become more scarce. Demand goes up. You know the story. So Mr. Singh, it's like, what are you doing? And then he blasts, he says, the liberals and conservatives. And so one thing that I thought that was interesting too was he actually mentioned the fact that the liberals, which by the way, he's keeping in power. We need to make sure we say that.
Remind the people.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that the Liberals gave $25.5 million to Loblaws and Costco between 2019 and 2013.
Let's go.
And what did they use it for?
Refrigerators.
Oh, yeah. It was part of the low carbon economy fund.
Woo!
Good old climate change gets brought in again. So this was money that Loblaws and Costco needed so that they could have a green transition, because those companies are definitely not making enough money to do it on their own. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is more climate change BS that we're seeing right here.
Yeah.
Like, what dinner did Trudeau attend with lobbyists from these organizations? And he thought, it would be really great if you just, cut the amount that we have to pay in taxes this year by 25 million so that we can buy new refrigerators that are going to be more energy efficient.
Yeah.
And he's like, that sounds great. That's going to be less carbon. And we're going to solve climate change. And we should do it with taxpayer dollar. So Jagmeet highlighting this has two things for me. I'm like, yes, thank you for bringing that up. Important to mention that. Two, what are you actually going to do about it right now? Because you have the most power that you're ever going to have within the next 20 years, right at this very moment. And you're not using it. And you expect us to then elect you as leader? God, no. You have all the power right now and you're not doing anything with it. You could dissolve Parliament if you want to. You don't. Yeah. Because we know why. You want that pension.
You want that money. Yeah, so this is the issue I have with this. And any politician in this country who dares bring any ideas in this vicinity up, the government needs to get involved in the market to make it more fair. That's it. Run the other way. This is why we're in this mess in the first place of Canada. We have no competition. Competition levels out prices. When you have 2 or 3 players in the country, this is what happens. And the only set person or the only entity saving the customer from these big corporations is the government. That's who's going to save us? Not going to happen. And this has been the long-standing issue in Canada. We just don't have the practices in place that invite competition in the country. If you just did that, and I get it, population, I get that happens. There's a reason why Ontario has probably the most competitive prices in the country. It's because of the saturation of the population in Southern Ontario. But like, it would be nice if some of these government officials were just like wanted to invite more competition into the country. Right now, there's only one party, and on a good day, who does it, and that's the Conservative Party. The other two won't do it, and I'm saying on a good day, the Conservative government will do it. They are not great when it comes to stuff either. This is just the Canadian way. We'll rely on the government again. There's like one of my mentors who was doing a entrepreneurship class at York University. When he asked his class, what would it take to have more entrepreneurs in this country? They said, well, you just need more investment into entrepreneurship. And he's like, what? No, go make it yourself. You're begging the government so we can make more entrepreneurs. That is the problem with Canadians, and that is the problem with the mentality of this country for the past however long. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I totally agree. I think less government hands into business, the better.
Yeah.
I mean, the government is not supposed to create jobs. The government is not supposed to create business. The government is not supposed to do all that. The government is supposed to stay out of the way and make sure that the citizens are protected from predatory business. But where's the government on things like cash money loans? They don't care about like protecting the person, the average person, from predatory business.
No.
You know, like the fact that we have so many things in our food supply right now that are completely banned in all of the EU and in other countries like Australia and New Zealand, which have very good healthcare systems because they've realized that maybe forever chemicals shouldn't be in our products, but, you know, not in Canada. So when I look at this, I think about basically what we saw happen with all the premiers who gathered in Nova Scotia the other day. I got kicked out of my workplace because they all decided to use our workplace as their meeting spot, as they do, which is kind of fun. But what I'm getting at here is the fact that they said the message to the federal government is stay in your lane, do your job. You're not doing the job that you're supposed to do. And that's how I feel about this. Get out of this. Get out of business. You're not a business. You're not business consultants. You shouldn't be doing this. Your job is to make sure that business is not predatory to consumers. And what you're doing is the exact opposite. Like you said, by eliminating competition, you create massive oligopolies or monopolies who are controlling everything and can just jack that price up little by little. So maybe they'll say, oh, we're going to tie it to inflation. That's still going to be prices increasing year over year. And then what happens when those price increases don't meet the actual demands of the farmers or the consumers? Like it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And you're totally right. It creates less competition. It just brings power into a more concentrated set of hands. And it's the worst. The worst.
I mean, I've been told that that's a good thing. Is concentrated power into a select few hands, I think, is just a brilliant idea. It goes well every time it happens.
I know, because that way you will own nothing and be happy.
Oh, do you know what I was really happy about the other day? I'm going to share this because I think this will trigger you, and I love it. I was out on a Grand Lake the other day, boating around, and we drove by the CEO of Amira's house cottage on the lake, and I was like, "Ooh, that's nice." Yeah. Wow, it must be nice to be CEO of Amira these days, you know. So
yeah,
fun.
And it was only a couple months ago that he was begging Ottawa for handouts so that they could make their adjustments because Fiona was so bad.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it just it's right. It's the culture in Canada is that you have a few corporations who control absolutely everything. And then when they need to do any kind of investment at all into their own business, they go into the Canadian taxpayers and they get the money from that to do investments in their own business. Like, disgusting.
Classic.
And they talk about this is something that I was thinking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but when we talk about the drop in Canadian productivity, something that drives productivity is competition.
Yep.
Having multiple businesses competing to get your dollar and to get your business is going to drive productivity, because that's going to drive new innovative ways of doing things. It's going to drive new innovative products. It's going to drive investment into the workforce so that they are the best at what they do. That's how productivity is increased in this country. I've been seeing so many headlines now about Canada and the government, how the government needs to be funding productivity. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah.
Because, government workers are known to be the most productive. Saying as a government worker.
True.
But
yeah, I mean, that you're right. And people want to live for something. We talked about at the beginning of the show, people want purpose.
Mm-hmm.
A purposeless life leads to lack of productivity. So yeah, more competition gets people more fired up, get more engaged in what they're doing, get more pride in who they are and what they're doing with their craft is really important to a country. And we will get that back. I am confident with it, man. As much as it's been a scary past week, I've seen the resolve in people wake up to. I'm like, oh baby. The people who are wanting to be in control and really consolidate power right now, they're shaking. They're scared. And the regular person's going to stand up. And I'm so proud of my fellow Canadians and Americans who are going to stand up against this tyranny. I'm over it. And let's go, boys and girls and everybody else. That was electric, wasn't it? Well, we enjoyed it. Hope you did too. If you did, you can check this video out here to the top right corner right here in my window. Get over. There it is. There it is right there. And if you liked that, you can also check this one right here. We love you. Have a good one. Peace out.